Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending our session. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. I'm JJ from Softr, and I'm here with Jacob from Relay, and we're going to be building some really cool things together today. We're going to show you how to build an interface in Softr. We're going to tell you what a webhook is and how to use that in Softr to trigger an automation in Relay. Then we're going to build some really cool ChatGPT-like generation abilities, and then also auto-scheduling in social media posting in Relay, and it's going to tie all together. And then along the way, we're just going to be giving you our best wisdom of how to prompt good, how to set up webhooks, on just generally how to build good in an AI first way. So really happy to have you here. I'm going to put out a couple of polls. The first poll is, how confident are you with your ChatGPT skills? 1 being, I've never even heard of ChatGPT. And 10 being, I write my own GPTs. I'm really comfortable in it. I use it every day, that kind of thing. Let us know where you are. Jacob, where would you rate yourself on that poll?
I would give myself a 7. I'd give myself a 7.
I'm probably right there with you. 7 or 8. It is like a companion these days. I use it for many things, not just business.
Yeah, and I feel where I'm at with my 7 is I feel confident that for use cases I've done before and I know well that I can write a good prompt that's going to get me high quality output. But I know that I'm only scratching the surface of what's possible still.
I think that's well said. And it's really exciting that we have this tool at our advantage now. I do have one more poll for you all. Have you worked with an API before? So API is a interface that allows two applications to come together. Relay is one of the providers that allows you to have a really easy API integration with other applications where they already pre-built these APIs for you, and you could just add, for example, like LinkedIn and then Softr Databases, et cetera, and connect those two together via an API. So who has worked with APIs before? We're about 50%, they know it for sure. And then the other 50% is like, I've dabbled, but we're still
Yeah,
learning.
and maybe in addition to the term API, you may be familiar with the term webhook,
Yep.
or you may be familiar with the term HTTP request. Those are all in the same category of how you make multiple apps on the web talk to each other.
Well said. Well said. So why don't we get started with our intros, and then we'll get right into building because we have a lot of fun stuff to build today. Getting started right away. Um, my name is JJ, and I lead community and education here at Softr. I've been in the no-code space since like 2019 now. I love building things, and generally, I'm fascinated with all things AI and building with AI. And this is Jacob, my partner. Jacob, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Jacob Bank. I'm currently the founder and CEO of Relay.app, which is a platform for building AI workflows and agents. My background is once upon a time, I was an AI researcher. I thought I was going to be a professor of computer science. I ended up dropping out of my PhD. And since then, I've worked in productivity tools. So I was the product lead for Gmail for many years, and I've had a couple startups along the way. And so, yeah, I basically spent the last 15 years working at the intersection of AI and productivity and collaboration tools. And it's cool that this stuff finally works now after years of years of toil.
And you also had a startup that you sold to Google. Is that correct?
Yes, that's why I ended up at Google, because when I dropped out of my PhD, my project was building an AI-powered digital calendar that turned into a startup called Timeful, which was acquired by Google, and that's how I landed up in the productivity and collaboration division of Google. So at each individual step made sense in the moment, but it feels very jumbled holistically.
Well, we're very happy to have you here and to build two awesome things with, well, one awesome thing with two different apps, Softr and Relay, both really awesome products that we're excited to show you today. So the mission for us as the builders of this event is to create a content management app. And this management app will allow you to create new social media campaigns in Softr, create new social posts in Softr. Those will then be sent to Relay, and it will use your writing style to craft those posts and then to schedule them on your platforms. And then you'll see everything again in Softr, so it's really easy to manage in Softr. Now, I will say something. I know AI slop, AI writing is everywhere, and this is not to encourage that. There are better ways that we could show you, which we will in this event, to write good with AI, and it can definitely be done. So we're not encouraging that kind of writing. We're showing you how to use these tools to more efficiently create content at scale in a way that reflects your brand too. Do you want to say anything else about that, Jacob?
No, we'll get into the exact techniques when we show the example, but I just want to give a preview of the 3 things you need to do to make sure that your AI drafted content is not AI slop. And again, it's AI drafted content. The AI is helping you as a writing assistant, as a research assistant. It's getting rid of your writer's block, but ultimately this is your content. And for it to be your content, you need to give the AI three things. One is you need to give the AI the seed of the content idea or the insight. If you don't bring a unique insight to your post, you won't have a good post, no matter how good the AI is writing about. So you bring the content seed, the insight. Number two, you want to arm the AI with as much context, high quality context as you can about your tone, your writing style, your perspective, your voice. The best way to do that is typically with examples of previous posts that you've written. And then number three, after the AI has turned your seed and your voice into a draft, you have to take it the last mile. You have to make sure the tone is right. You have to make sure the content is right. You have to make sure the emphasis is right. And then approve it before it's posted. And so what I find, I think that's the key point to make is that AI is your drafting assistant. This is not fully automated writing because it's hard to make fully automated writing anything that's unique and personal and compelling to you, of course.
Well said. Well said. And so we're going to go into that a lot more during this build. So I'm going to pull up Softr and I'm going to show you first the final result. And then we're going to deconstruct it and build each part of it in Softr and Relay to show you the magic behind the scenes here. So I'm going to pull up my screen. And the first thing I have over here is, actually, I'm just going to share my whole window with you today. Jacob, let me know when you could see that on your side.
I got it.
All right, awesome. So here we are in Softr, and this is the app that we have created. At the end of this recording, we will give you templates where you can access this app in Softr and the automation that we build in Relay, so then you can use both afterwards, all right? This app that we created has three different areas: campaigns, individual content, and then reporting, right? What we're going to focus on for this presentation is campaigns. And within the campaigns, you can create a new campaign, or you can go into an existing campaign, which is what we're going to do. And Softr is getting ready to take our offsite to Croatia next week. So we're going to stay with a little bit of a beach themey for this presentation today, with a little bit of Croatia planning, all right? And so we're going on the best vacation ever, generally, all right? And within this page, this is our post detail page or campaign detail page specifically. So we're able to see in a Kanban view the posts that we have. And so whether it's in progress, on hold, planning, et cetera, we can control all of this. We can build all this. And then we can also see in a calendar view the upcoming posts that we have created. All right. And so whenever we go to create a new social post, we will create a post here. And once we create a post here, this is like the general context that we want to give AI about what this post should be about, the platforms that we want to use for this, who the social poster is, either Jacob or I, and then the date and time that we want this. Now, once we hit submit, what is going to happen is we're going to bounce over to Relay, and that is going to trigger this webhook here, all right? And this webhook is a unique URL that Softr is sending all this data to, which is going to be received in Relay. And then from there, V1 of this, which is not optimized yet, we're going to optimize it on the call with you, thanks to Jacob. We're going to then take the data from the API call, and we're going to use it to create a LinkedIn post using the data. We're going to send the writing style and the campaign details that we have from Softr, already telling us, like, what is the writing style that we want for something like this? What is more information about the campaign? Because when working with AI, it's all about context. And the more context that we can give it, the more instructions we can give it, the better results you'll get. And so I'm passing these details in the webhook as well. Also, we're going to then create a title for the social media post. And this really isn't needed for social media posting, but more so needed for working in Softr and then showing the related entries in Softr. Then we're going to generate an image for this social media post. Again, taking the content that we're creating, the social media body, and then using that to generate an image around it. Then we're going to take that image and then save it as a URL. And then we're going to send it back to Softr Databases, which is where you can see here. And we have a connection, an API connection from Relay that hits this post API, sending all this data back to Softr Databases, which results in a nearly real-time interaction. So let me show it to you, and then we'll start building, okay? So here in Softr, I'm in this campaign, best vacation ever. We're going to create a new social post. And for this social post, we're going to say, we're going to say, create a post about the best beaches in Europe. All right. And we're going to post it in LinkedIn, and we're going to post, JJ's going to post it, and we'll have it going on Saturday, and we'll have it going at like 8 a.m., something like that. Okay. And now we're going to submit this. Now that worked. And now it's going to go over to Relay. And now we see Relay is running something right now. And we can see that this run is in progress and that it just completed. And so now we can go to Softr Databases, and we can see that the new post was just created there, right? And then we can also see that if we pull up our content here, we'll go back to campaigns, and we'll go back to best vacation ever. And then we should have it right here, Europe's best beaches, right there. And so that is the connection that we just made of making the social media post. So here's the image that was generated, the title, which is what we generated with AI, the post. Now, we actually didn't connect this to LinkedIn yet because it would literally post on my LinkedIn. So in demo purposes, we didn't add that yet, but we will at the end of this just to show you how to do it. So are you ready to get started building, Jacob?
Let's do it.
All right. Do we have any questions along the way? I'm just checking chat quick.
I just saw there was a question in the chat about different social platforms, which I covered briefly in the chat, and I'll
Okay.
also cover live when we get to that point.
Okay.
But yeah, let's dive in and show how to build the AI automation that accompanies the content calendar and actually produces this draft of content for you.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'm over on the Softr Studio right now. And in the Softr Studio, I have these different pages, right? And a quick overview for what Softr is or how it works is we have these different pages, and each component or each block on the page is a block that we've pre-built for you. But then you can click into that block, and you can go and adjust the data source, the content, the related actions. And so it's a very quick way to build applications without having to rebuild that core component every single time, but it's still highly customizable. And in this case, we're using Softr Databases as our database, and it's pulling from the content calendar database and then the specific table for campaigns. And so we have a block here for our item details. We have a container block here that is allowing us to have a tab-like structure. And within that tab-like structure, we have a calendar block and then a Kanban block. And if at any point I wanted to add a new block, I can go to add block. And then I have over 100 different blocks that I can choose from to add in there. And it's important to know that Softr works with many different data sources, over 14, in fact. So Google Sheets, HubSpot, Monday, any like CRM or data source that you're using that you want to bring your data into to visualize and make like a beautiful interface, you can do that really well with Softr. Now, specifically what we're going to build together is this new social post form. All right. And what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to go add block, and we're going to do a new conditional form. All right. And within this new conditional form, and we need to figure out where we're going to send the response to this form. Now, what I mean by that is, do we want to send the response whenever someone submits the form to a data source? Do we want to send it to a webhook? Do we want to send it to another automation platform? In this case, we are going to choose a webhook. All right. And now we need to figure out where that webhook URL is. And that's when we'll pop over to Relay. We'll go to our editor, and they have this really nifty action called webhook is called. And I could just copy this webhook from here, noting that it is a post, right? And I can go back here and just put my webhook right in there.
Yeah, and for the less technical members of the audience, if you're not familiar with webhooks, it's going to seem really scary. You're going to see slashes and dashes and all sorts of stuff. But really, all you have to think about it, use an analogy to physical mail in your mind. When you want to send a physical mail package to someone, you need to know their address, and then they need some way to know what to unpack and what's in the package. And so what JJ did here was that send to webhook, it's saying, what is the address? Where do you want to send this package of information to? And then over on the Relay side, it says, here's my address. Here's where you send me packages of information. And now you can go through, once you have the address figured out, you want to go through and configure like what you're actually putting into the package. And we can talk about how Relay then decodes that package later. But like, don't get intimidated by the word webhook or the HTTPs or the slashes. You're just sending a package of information to a location on the internet.
Well said. Very well said. So we're going to go back here to our conditional form here, and we're going to continue to modify it. And so I've modified the setting. And so anytime you submit this, it's going to send to this webhook, right? Now I'm going to go into my questions, and I can start building this. And so for my heading, I'm going to say, create a new social post. And then for any kind of text, I can have text, or I can just not have text and delete that. Again, I'm designing it whatever's best for me. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go add a field. It's going to be an input field. And this is going to be a long text field. And the long text field, we're going to call it post details. Okay. Post details. And this is where we're actually going to send the prompt for what kind of post we want created. And up here, you could change the field type that you want to use. So for long text, that allows us to handle like a big post. Now, if we just wanted like a couple words, we could do a single line text. If we wanted a drop down of options, we'd do a drop down for our field types. Okay. In this case, long text is going to be great. It's going to be post details, and it's required. All right. I have this little thing, full name up there that stayed behind. So I'm going to go up there, delete it, come back to my section 2. Now what I'm going to say is, all right, what social platforms do we want this to post on? So social platforms. And then I'm going to add a new option. I'm going to say I want it on LinkedIn, or I want it on X. Let's also maybe just do Blue Sky and Facebook. All right. So now we have the ability for them to be able to post it on social media platforms. And now, do we want them to be able to select more than one thing? Meaning, do we want them to be, say, LinkedIn and Facebook, LinkedIn and X? And for this example, we're going to say yes. And then we're going to say social platforms. And we'll also make it required. So now this is a drop down, and we can see it's formatted as a drop down. Excellent. Now, next thing up is the social poster, another drop down. And it's going to be, or instead of a drop down, we can also do a quick select here. And we could see social poster, and it could be JJ or Jacob. And now you could see the two options there. And we'll say right here, we'll say social poster, and then we'll make it so it's side by side there. So you can just quickly select Jacob or JJ. Now, the last step is date and time. All right. And so input dates. And now we have a specific field type for dates and another one for date and time. And it's really important to use the date and time one because we need to send the time that we want this posted along with the dates. All right. So dates, time, say date and time. And that's also required. All right. So now here is our webhook here, or our conditional form. And I will say that within our conditional forms, you can create logic and make this much more advanced of, hey, if they responded to this social media platform of like Facebook, then bring them this way and ask them these questions as well. Now, we're not going to do that in this sense. We're going to keep it really simple, but I did want to point that out. All right. Now, another thing that I want to do is I want to pull in that writing style and the campaign details, but I don't want to have my user repeat that information. So Softr has this field called a hidden field, right? And that allows me to grab information from the page that may already be there. And so for this, I'm going to say campaign details. I'm going to go value, and I'm going to say the information within the details block and campaign details. And so what I'm doing here is this block right up here has the information loaded for the related campaign. And I could just take information from that block and reuse it here. So I don't have to have my user re-insert all that information again. Now I'm going to do that a couple more times. I'm going to go hidden again. And now this one is going to be our writing style, campaign writing style, campaign writing style. And I'm just going to check to see if there's anything else that we'd want to include here. I think we need to include the record ID for the campaign so we can map it back to the actual campaign that it relates to. And this is the unique ID for the campaign. So that way, when we send it back to Softr Databases, we have that ID present. I'm just going to double check the webhook here. And I'm looking at the information that was sent in that body there. So we have the text body, the date, the social poster, the platform, campaign detail, related campaign ID, and the writing style. So that's everything that we need in our payload to send over to Relay to be able to use this. All right. So I'm going to go back into Softr. That's looking good. I'm just going to go here and I'm just going to hide this. So we're now using our new form. And I'm also going to go into styles and I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. I'm going to say, let's make it a little wider and maybe let's just lose the border that we have here for this. And let's see, we don't need a shadow. So it sticks in there. Okay. So that's looking nice. And so I think that completes the setup that we'll have on this side. Why don't we go into Relay now? And Jacob, you take over the screen and we can rebuild this part of it.
Sounds good. Let me share my version of the same workflow. Can everyone see my screen?
Uh,
I think it's still loading.
there it is.
It still looks great out to me. Okay, you see it now?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So as JJ mentioned, when you're making a connection between Softr and Relay.app, the first step is you need to set up this mailing dance, this mailing address and package format of how the data is going to get from Softr to Relay.app. And you can see here on the Relay.app side that the unique URL for this workflow, this is the address that you want to send the package to. And then JJ has been kind enough to specify the format of the package. Now, this is a little bit technical to write every item that's in the package. If we were to build this from scratch, you would see that Relay.app has a tool where you can just send a sample package and Relay.app will figure out the format of what's inside of it so that you can use that information later in their workflow, in the workflow. Oh, I see a question about screens. Is it okay? Okay, so I think people can see my screen. Okay, cool. Okay, so once we have this information, the text body, the posting date, the social poster, the platforms, etc., we have all the information to create a high quality post. Let me first show you what exists in this workflow and then a few changes I want to make to it. So the first step we have is an AI step. And the way you can think about an AI step is if you've used ChatGPT, it's basically asking ChatGPT to do something automatically as part of this workflow that's running behind the scenes. So if you've used ChatGPT, you're familiar with a prompt. A prompt is the instructions you give to the AI model. And you can see we have a simple prompt. Please write a LinkedIn post about text body with the following writing style and the following campaign details and keep it under 200 words. Now, I want to do a couple things differently that I mentioned to make this post higher quality and less likely to be AI slop. So I remember I mentioned at the beginning, there are 3 things you need for AI to be a high quality content drafting assistant for you. Number 1, you have a content seed idea. That's good. We've already got that because that's what you put into the content calendar in Softr, either you or the marketing person you're working with. We've got a new content idea. But what we need is we need 2 more things. We need context from my previous posts of what my writing style and my tone of voice is. And then we need to have a human in the loop to adapt the post before it gets posted. So let me show you how to add both of those. So in this AI step, you can see that all we have is this simple prompt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go fetch my 10 most recent LinkedIn posts and give that to the AI as an example of how I post on LinkedIn. And in reality, because we have 2 posters, me and JJ, I would want a step that's like, if it's me, use my style. If it's JJ, use his style. For simplicity now, I'm just going to assume the poster is me. But in a more advanced session later, we can show you how you could fetch the right posts for the right person, depending on who's actually doing it. So right above this AI step, before this AI step happens, I want to go get the LinkedIn post that this step is going to need to be effective. So if you hover over a step, you'll see a plus button in the middle, and that allows you to add another step in your workflow injected in the right place. So I'm going to say plus, then I'm going to type LinkedIn. And then you'll see here, there are a bunch of LinkedIn actions. Later, we're going to use the LinkedIn actions for creating posts. Like I think I'm going to use create a post for a personal profile. But for now, we're going to use a retrieval action, which is we're going to go fetch my recent posts. And here's a really cool thing about LinkedIn. Posts are public on the platform, as are engagements and reactions and comments. And so, yes, you can go fetch your own posts, the engagements on your post, the comments on your post, but you can also go fetch anyone else's post, whether it's a personal account or a brand account, if you want to, for example, learn from their writing style or track a competitor or something else. But in this case, I'm just going to fetch my own posts. So I'm going to put in my LinkedIn profile URL. Let me go find that. Just a moment. There's me. I'm going to put in my profile URL and I'm going to get my 10 most recent posts. That should be plenty for my writing style. In fact, actually, my 5 most recent posts should be plenty to get my writing style and my tone of voice. If no posts are found, that's kind of an error handling experience. Continue without a result. I know it's going to find 5 recent posts because I post all the time on LinkedIn, and I'm going to hit done. Now I've fetched those LinkedIn posts, but the AI doesn't know anything about them yet. I have to explicitly tell the AI, here are the posts that I've written previously, and here's what to do with them. So when I go back into my AI step, again, this is the one that creates the social post. I'm going to say attached for reference are my 5 previous linked in posts. Please use those to get a sense for my writing style, voice, and tone. So now I've said in the prompt what I want AI to do with those posts. And if you see the button, there's a button data from previous steps here. That's where I can give the AI access to those posts. So you can see that AI now has access to the information that came from Softr, from that form JJ filled out, and it has access to the recent posts. So now we've done 2 of the 3 steps that are required for AI to write high quality content on our behalf. The third thing we need to do is we need to add a human in the loop review. And you see on the bottom right here, there's a section where it says human review. And right now it says, no, don't have a human review. Have the AI produce automatically. Instead, I want to change this to, yes, I always want a human to review.
Which is incredible, by the way. I want to call that out for Relay because that's a really powerful feature that is just so simple to be able to add in there. I love that. I also have one question for you, Jacob. Right now we have 2 different AI calls for creating the post and the title. Would you want to combine that so it returns the post and the title in one call, or do you like keeping it in 2 different calls?
I would actually like to do it in one. The reason for that is I think the AI will do a better job if it's thinking about the title and the content simultaneously and creating a unified package across them. And I might want to edit both of them. And I want to be careful here because that's against my typical advice. My typical advice is give the AI one simple, clear job. So let me just go on a tangent here for a second because I think it's a really important thing to mention. Let's say you have another AI use case where you want AI to classify your incoming emails. And then for the subset of which of them you can reply automatically, it drafts a reply. You may be tempted to say, hey, AI, in one step, I want you to both classify and draft a reply for all these different cases of emails. I would recommend against doing that. It's going to be hard for the AI to keep it straight. It's going to be hard for you to adapt your prompt and make it better. So in that case, I would say have one step for the AI to classify and then another step for the AI to write. In this case, because the title and the content are so interlinked in the post, I'd have the AI do both. So let me show you how to make the AI do both of those in one. I'm going to take a little detour away from human in the loop back to helping the AI create both this one. So you can see up here on the top right, the AI is outputting only one thing, which is either a plain text or a rich text version of this report. But I actually want 2 things now. I want the title in plain text and I want the post in rich text. So I'm going to change this output format from a single text field to 2 text fields. There's going to be a text field, which is the title. And there's going to be a rich text field, which is post. So now the AI in one step is going to produce for me both the title and the post. Now let me get back to human review. So I'm going to say, yes, there should always be a review. I'm going to get an email notification and the email notification will say, please review the new social post for, and then I'm going to reference the body of the campaign ID. Here's the title. And here's the post draft. Oh yeah, those are actually going to show already in line. Please review the social post for the text body. Then you can actually be quite fancy here. You can set a due date of like, you must respond to this within a day or 2 or 3. You can say if the assignee doesn't do it in a day, what do you do afterwards? But in this case, I'm going to just keep it simple. And now once this human in the loop email gets sent to me, I'm going to have 3 options. And these 3 options are really important. The first option I'm going to have is just a one-click button to approve. Approve what the AI wrote. I'm happy with the AI. It did a great job writing this post. I'm going to approve it and it's going to go out. The second option I'm going to have is refine. And refine means I'm going to give a prompt back to the AI to tell it to do better. Like, hey, AI, can you make the tone a little more friendly and conversational? Or hey, AI, can you make sure to mention these 3 other beaches that we think are cool? But I'm going to give it a prompt and the AI is going to come back with another draft. And the third thing you can do is just edit it manually. And this is what I often do, where it's like if the AI gets it 90% of the way there and I just want to take out one sentence and modify one sentence, I edit it manually. And so that's human in the loop. So now I'm actually very confident that this AI step is going to produce good content because we've given it a unique seed of an idea and details about our campaign and our writing style. We've given it examples of my content and my voice so it knows how to write like me. And we've added a human in the loop review so I can be confident that the AI is going to do it right. So now I'm going to get rid of that separate step to create the title because we did that all in one. And now I'm going to show you the image generation step that JJ had created. You can see here that we want to generate an image for this post. And you can see here that in the prompt for the image generation, I'm referencing the content the AI produced in the previous step, because that's the context the image generation model is going to need to create a good accompanying image to the post. So you can see JJ wrote a nice prompt here, generate a realistic photo. It should look like this. It should have this aspect ratio. Great. Then this kind of a technical detail, which is when you use an AI image generation model, you need to know where to go find that image that it makes. And so Relay gives you the convenience of creating a hosted URL where you can go find that image from elsewhere. Otherwise, that image, it's easy for it to get lost into the ether. And then you can see that JJ has already configured a way to get this data back to Softr. Because I changed the post title a little bit, I need to
I wouldn't delete your fields. I would just update them if you can.
Let me revert. Oh, that's actually going to revert.
No worries. I can go and add them back.
Okay. So let's actually just show people how to do it right now. So can you tell me what the property type is going to be? It's going to be a string, I assume.
Yeah. You know what? Why don't I just swing back my screen and I'll show the Softr database and that part of it.
Perfect.
That cool?
So I'm going to publish here. I should have published before so that we could revert. But yeah, so now that we've drafted the social post, we've gotten the human approval, we've gotten the image. What we need to do next is get this back into Softr. So that's a good time for you to take over, JJ.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that. So in Softr, this is a custom API call, right? And what we're doing here is we're sending this data to Softr Databases. And so in our logs here, or sorry, our manual here, we have a video showing you how to use this API. And then we have all these different endpoints that you can use. And so right now, this is the root endpoint, right, that I'm using. And then you need to go and fetch your API key. And in Softr, you can do that. I'm just going to duplicate this quick. I'm going to show you how to find your API key. And it's coming up in a second. We're going to go back here. I'll do that later. I'm going to go up here, top right corner, and API key. And then I could just take that API key and add it into my call. And so the API key for a header is right there. And then that's the actual key. And then this is the root URL that I'm using. And then over in our create record, because that's what we're doing right now is we're creating a new record within a specific table. So I'm going to go to that specific API call. I'm going to go, I got to go all the way down. Let's see, is create record. There it is. And so in this, I see that it is a post. All right. And so in Relay, that's post. And then over here, I see the root URL that I've already added. And then it wants the database ID. All right. And so I can go into my database here and I can see that the database ID is this right here. And so I could take that and put it right into that URL right here, which is what I have. And then it wants my table ID. All right. I'm going to go back to my database and I'm going to look at the table and I can see the table ID is just right there. And then again, I'm going to bring it back in and enter the table ID right there. And that will complete the API URL that you need. Again, it's the postal message. What is their city? What is their state? That is what is the table? What is the table ID, etc. And so that is the city and state of what table, what database are we sending it to? What table are we sending it to? And then I think those are the two, data database and table, right? So now we have that configured with our API key. And now we're using actual IDs within Softr Database here to map this. And so if I want to go and add a new property ID, which I do need for our title. So I'm going to go add property ID. I'm going to be a string, which is like a text value. I'm going to go back into Softr Databases. I'm going to click right here and we're going to say, this is the ID right here for this post title. So I'm going to copy that ID. I'm going to bring it back here and say property name. And then in here, I'm going to say, all right, I need the title. All right. So it's going to be title right there. All right. What else do I need here? Title, the actual post, right? Body. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to say, all right, the social post, edit field ID, and then put that in the ID right there. And then this is going to be my post. All right. Then we have the image right there. We have the campaign ID, social platform. Was there anything else that we deleted, Jacob? Was that it?
I deleted 3 things. I don't know exactly what they were, but I think
Okay.
all we need is the title, the post, and the image URL. So as long as we've got those 3 things, that should be plenty.
Yeah, I think is the channel in here too? Posting social platform. Yeah. So I think that should be good. Um, one thing that I did do that I'm not showing here is I used the configure automatically to I think initialize this webhook. And so initially, once I had this webhook, I did configure automatically. And so what that allowed me to do is it detected automatically the data that was being sent in that API call and formatted a lot of this for me. All right. So that's really nice that Relay does that for me. But again, this is the response, saving everything to go back into Softr Databases. All right. Now, this API call, it could be working with like nearly any other platform that has an API. In this case, we're using Softr Databases. And so that's what we're using. All right. So that's what we have here. I think we're ready to publish and test this. What do you think, Jacob?
So there's one more thing I'd like to show,
Okay.
which is we've drafted the post, we've gotten the image, we've written it back to Softr, but we haven't actually published the post. And so I wanted to quickly show how you would schedule a post to be published at a future time.
Let's
And
do
we're going
that.
to need 2 steps to do that. We're going to need the LinkedIn step that actually does the post. And then we're going to need what we call a wait step in Relay.app. The wait step is what waits until the posting date. So let me quickly show you how to set that up. I know we're running tight on time, but I think we'll have time for this.
Yeah. And
So
just all right, cool. Your screen's coming up.
yeah. So at the very bottom, after we've generated this post, I'm going to press the plus button at the bottom. I'm going to type wait. And you'll see that I have an option to wait for, I can either wait for a certain number of days, like wait for 3 days. But in this case, I want to wait until a specific date. And the specific date I want to wait until, I'm blazed through this really quickly, but it's super cool. The specific date I want to wait until is the posting date that came in via my webhook, because that's what was submitted in the Softr form. So I want to wait until that date. And
At
then
that frame, right?
and then I want to do it exactly at that time. If you want to do, there are other use cases for which an offset can be valuable, like a bit before the time or a bit after the time. But in this case, I want to do it at exactly the posting date. And then last but not least, I'm going to create a LinkedIn step. And the LinkedIn step is going to post on a personal profile. Bear with me as I connect my LinkedIn. And when I'm posting a LinkedIn post automatically, you'll see that it asks me for 2 things, just like LinkedIn does. What is the post text and what is the image or document that you want to attach to it? So for the post text, I'm going to attach the output of AI step 3, the post. I do want to include an image, and the image I want to include is the output of the AI image generation from step 4. And I want to set it to public. So now we have a complete end-to-end workflow that will not just write back the content of the post and the image to Softr. It's actually going to wait until the posting date and post it.
Yeah, which is going to be really cool. Do you think you're going to be able to preview the human in the loop step?
Oh, yeah. And the one other thing we wanted to add is, because we've already reviewed the text of the post, because we had this sort of iterative human in the loop experience with AI. One thing that I like to do, because I'm pretty cautious about what gets posted on my LinkedIn personal profile, I want it to all be really good, is I'm getting another human in the loop approval step. So if you press the plus button right before the post gets created on the personal profile, you'll see there's standalone human in the loop steps. Unlike the one that's embedded in the AI step, you can also have a standalone human in the loop step and say, and once again, I'll send it over email to myself and say, ready to post this on LinkedIn. And there I want to include the post.
Oh, nice.
And the image. And this is giving me one last chance to say, do you really want this post to go out on your LinkedIn? Because I find this really valuable, because often when you're doing a content calendar in advance, it's really cool to map out all your social posts for the month and then just have your social on almost autopilot. But if you're 2 weeks into the month and something has changed in the world about your campaign or about some other big thing in the news, it's pretty nice to have like one last sanity check on your post before it goes out. So that's what I recommend. I recommend having a human in the loop that's in there drafting with the AI as the post is being written, and then another human in the loop step right before the post goes out for a final check.
Awesome. Should we do a recap and then see this thing live?
Let's do it.
All right. I will pull up the screen on my side. Playing a little bit here. Screen hopping. Screen hopping. All right, cool. So to recap this, we're going to go back into Softr here. And we have this preview that we created here. So I'm going to actually preview it. And so that allows me to open up a test environment in Softr, right? Where I can actually test things before I publish it to the world. All right. I'm going to go actually in back to home here. And I'm going to see that I have my campaigns. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my campaigns. And within campaigns, I have all the posts that I have scheduled coming up. All right. And again, I can see it in a social view as well. Now I'm going to go create a new social post. Now this is using the new form that we just created on this call. You could tell because we have this quick select.
This is super risky, JJ.
This is so risky.
We're doing it live. Let's see if this actually works.
We haven't even
I believe
tested
in
this.
you.
We haven't even tested this webhook yet to make sure that the data go into Relay.
We're just gonna do it one shot. There's no way it's gonna work, but if it does, it'd be a miracle.
So should we stick on the beach theme here? And we'll say, tell me about the best beaches located in San Francisco this time. And
my current home.
there we go. And get that. I can't spell it right. They'll be fine.
Don't worry. This is the nice thing with AI. You don't need to spell it right. The AI prompt will take care of it for you.
There you go. So I'm going to schedule this for next Monday. All right. And we will have it at around 10 a.m. All right. Fingers crossed. And we're going to submit. Did we publish on this side? We did. Yeah, that's all live.
On the Relay side. Yep.
So that went through. We see a run coming through. It is running here. And it is going through the steps.
So this is great. So we can watch as the workflow works. You can see that it already found my 5 most recent LinkedIn posts. And now do you see where it says human review? Click that. So now if you scroll down to the bottom, it's saying, and it's a little cramped. I apologize for that. It says, this is the post and title.
Yeah.
And we should really go through and edit this post and title. It looks like it's not quite what I would have written.
If you're reading this from your desk, surrounded by 3 half-empty mugs and a wilting plant, stop. It's just time to treat yourself and your Google Calendar to something way more exciting than your next Zoom meeting. Let me introduce you to the vacation spot that makes out of the office sound like a power play. And it goes on.
Yeah, and so you could go through and edit this if you want, or you can just hit approve output.
So we'll approve it for now.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna
Don't worry,
keep
it's not
going
going to get actually posted on my LinkedIn.
Well, if you wanted to be out of the office and go on that fancy beach location in San Francisco, you could do that. So that all went through. We don't have the error coming through though, which is showing us that the actual endpoint we didn't send.
It looks like we didn't get the posting date formatted correctly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so we can look at this here. Now, maybe, Jacob, could we just go back in here quick, adjust this? And so, all right, the posting date didn't come through here. So let's just double check over here that we are actually sending the date and time, which we are. Okay, so that's cool. So we'll go back into Relay here and we'll just double check. Maybe let's see why this didn't come through here. We do have the posting date there. Maybe one other thing that we can look at here is in this custom, we could see the output here. We could see the payload and we could see that doesn't look like it did. It came with a date and time here for some reason. Is that true?
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. And my guess is if you hit close and go back to the way the webhook is configured in the editor.
Yep.
My guess is because this was built originally for the new form.
Yeah.
My guess is the old form, excuse me. My guess is in the new form, we did something like posting underscore date or some other different in how posting date was written.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was posting underscore date.
Yeah.
And so that's why it didn't come through. And we were short on time, which is why we just ran it live. If you were building this for real, what I would recommend is before you build any of the steps of your workflow, make
Yeah.
sure the webhook data is coming through. Make sure that package of data is coming through perfectly with the format you expect, because otherwise you might find yourself running the workflow and randomly missing 2 or 3 of the data points. But I
Yeah.
think we'll button it up in the template that we publish for everyone. But I think it is important to note that, like, whenever you're working with cross app API connections, I really recommend testing each step individually to make sure that the connection is solid before moving on to the next step.
Yep, that would definitely be it. You see, I did an underscore for the new form, and I didn't actually do that. I did that there in some areas, but not everywhere. And that was kind of where we lost it. But I got actually pretty close. I'm glad I
I
ran this
mean,
much as kid.
for doing it live, you got quite close.
Yeah. Awesome. So, let's see, just the posting date here. Now that we changed this, we're just gonna go in here, go back here, done. And then I think one other thing here, we just need to update for posting dates, just changing this now that we have it updated. We're gonna say posting date here, save, and then social platforms, because we modified how we did the webhook and social platforms, save. And so that should do that. And so we can publish this. And now it's asking me two different things. What's the best way to explain this, Jacob?
So when you have a run in progress and you make changes, we don't know if you want those changes to apply to the things that are already running, or if you only want them to apply to new things. And so we give you the choice. You can say only apply this change to new runs going forward. Don't modify anything that's already happening. Or you can upgrade existing runs to this new functionality. So let's try publish and upgrade active run.
Awesome. Publish.
And what that may do is actually, webhooks are super tricky, so I'm not sure what it'll do. But let's go into runs. Yeah, so it wasn't able to pull in. It doesn't. We don't dynamically remap the webhook values after a change like this is made because the trigger is already run. But you could replay the whole failed run.
Let's see. Let's see if we get any luck here. If not, I didn't actually go word by word of like what I put in Softr to map exactly, so it could still
Yeah.
fail. But I think generally we spent the last 45 minutes and we built an interface form in Softr that allowed us to connect to this webhook. We set up the webhook. We have 8 different steps here of fetching your LinkedIn posts, creating social posts, creating image AI, sending it back to Softr Databases with 2 human in the loop steps, and then posting on LinkedIn while teaching you in 45 minutes. So it's safe to say if we had 10 more minutes here, we would nail this and could move on to our next AI automation agent. But I think that's kind of all we got for today. What we'll do is we'll make sure that this template is working and we'll include it in the recording that we send to you that replays this and then also includes the templates for both Softr and Relay that you can then add on to for your own use cases going forward.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much, JJ, for having me. This was super fun. And it is actually really nice how complementary Softr and Relay.app are, where you can use Softr for what it's great at, creating the portal, creating the content calendar, setting up the forms, and then Relay can do some of the intelligent workflow and AI agent work behind the scenes.
Yeah, they go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Thanks all for joining. See you next time.
See you next time.